Good morning everyone. I am Renu Sharma, Assistant Professor EC Department. Today I am going to start with the next topic of the subject for the unit first, that is wireless and mobile communication. So the topic of today's lecture are, first one is wireless channel modeling, then important properties of a channel and channel impulse response. So in the previous lecture we have discussed about the cell architecture, what are the different components of a cell. So today we will going to discuss about how we are going to model a channel. Like in case of communication, there is a transmitter, there is a receiver, and the information which is transmitted from transmitter to receiver is through a channel. A channel may be of two types. It can be a wired channel or it can be a wireless channel. So there are two possibilities of this channel. So in case of wired channel, there is a communication link has been set up between the transmitter and receiver through wires, and wire can be twisted pair cable that is used for short distance communication, and it is used to carry, earlier it is used to carry voice signals only, means in landline phones we are using twisted pair cable. Then with the increasing demand of the internet, with the increasing demand of number of voice signals, coaxial cables are used. Afterwards optical fibers are used, and these are used nowadays. So optical fiber is more reliable as compared to the twisted pair cable. And as far as this wireless is concerned, it will going to provide the connectivity in different frequency ranges, like the microwave frequency range. So this is the first kind of wireless channel. Next one is radio frequency, that is RF, and it will be infrared. There is also possibility of satellite link. So these are some of the frequency ranges in which if the particular communication is taken place, so that is known as wireless communication. So in today's lecture we will discuss that how this modeling is being done mathematically, or if I want to consider a wired channel, then how it can be modeled. So wireless channel modeling, perfect channel modeling is required to study or analyze a wireless system. A channel can be modeled by two approaches, physical approach and statistical approach. In case of physical approach, if we are concerned about physical approach, then we have to consider reflection, multipath propagation, attenuation. So these are some of the drawbacks you can say in case of communication. In case of the communication means the information will be sent between the transmitter and receiver. So let's say this is a transmitter, this is a receiver, and if I'm talking about urban area, so there will be building will be there in between this transmitter or receiver, or any kind of tree is there. So there is no direct line of sight is not available between the transmitter and receiver. It has to be reflected from here, then here, and then it will be received at the receiver side. So these two points are known as, basically these are known as multipath propagation, and this will lead to reflection, this will lead to refraction. So there are basically four parameters associated with this multipath propagation. There may be diffraction is also there, and scattering. So these are four types of circumstances you can say which will occur when there is no direct line of sight exist between the transmitter and receiver. So in case of diffraction or scattering, the size of the object on which a particular light will incident, it can be, in one case it will be smaller than the wavelength of propagation, and in one case it will be larger than the wavelength of propagation. So that is the case of scattering and diffraction. In case of reflection and refraction, the change of the medium will be there, so that will constitutes reflection or refraction. So in case of physical modeling of a channel, we have to consider these parameters, whereas in case of statistical approach, we have to consider various probability density functions, PDF. In short form, it is known as PDF of various distributions like Rayleigh distribution, Bayesian distribution, or normal distribution, Gaussian distribution. So these have their own probability density function. We have to consider these PDFs and we can design any channel. So important properties of a channel are, first is channel may be time varying or static. Time varying, which means that with the change in time, the characteristics of the signal will change, which means that if I am going to change various circumstances, like if the attenuation will change, or if any there is no direct line of sight exists between the transmitter and receiver. So in some cases, with the change in time, with the change in atmospheric conditions, the characteristics of the signal will change. So that is the case of time varying. And static means at every point of time, if you are going to consider the PDF of that particular channel, it will be static in nature. So the effect of mobility is that the channel varies with the user's location and time. Also, if I am talking about this mobile communication, so it is fixed that this transmitter and receiver are mobile in nature, means they are moving in nature. So since they are moving in nature, their location will change. It will change from home location register to visitor location register, any case will be happen. So that is the that is also the cause of time varying channel characteristics. So which results in the rapid fluctuations of the received power. The slower one moves, the lesser variation will be observed. And there is also a very common point is there, that if the transmitter or receiver is moving at a very less speed, very low speed, then the variation in the signal will be lesser. Also, channel may be time dispersive or non-dispersive. Now, what is dispersive or non-dispersive? This is directly related to the intersymbol interference effect. Let's say I am transferring this waveform. This is a square waveform which will exist from 0 to t. I am transferring this waveform, and with the effect of noise due to the multipath propagation, this waveform will be dispersive in nature. So this will now change exist from 0 to t plus tau. So tau is basically the dispersive nature. This will going to show the dispersive nature of the channel. So this is basically the channel. This is transmitter side and this will be the receiver side. So you can see from t, it will be extended to t plus tau. So due to the dispersion, pulse spreading will be observed, which will result in intersymbol interference. So if 2 or 3 users are using a common channel and all the signals are dispersive in nature, then there will be intersymbol interference effect will occur. Channel may be linear or non-linear. All channels act as a low pass filter under certain conditions as they show the pulse spreading effect. So basically every channel will act as a low pass filter most of the time, because in case of low pass filter only the lower frequency components will pass and higher frequency components are not allowed to be they are suppressed. So channel may be fast fading, slow fading, or it may be frequency selective or flat fading. So these are the 4 different categories of a channel. Now we have 2 major scenarios: large area, non-congested rural area, and other one is suburban scenario, and small area, congested urban scenario. So basically if you are see, first is rural area, second one is urban area. These are directly we are concerning in terms of population. If you know that population in this case is high and population in this case is low. So basically we are going to concern these 2 categories. On the basis of the population we have to design channel. So outdoor channel model is examples are Longley-Rice model, Okumura-Hata model, Nakagami and Rizian model. These are basically dependent on the various distributions. We are going to see in coming slides that how these channels are designed. Then indoor channel model is there, which is based on the Rayleigh model. So we are going to consider the Rayleigh distribution for designing the indoor channel model. So indoor channel and outdoor is considered in the on the basis of population. So specific environment for modeling the wireless channel for cellular systems are: first one is large macro cell, second one is small macro cell, micro cell and picocell. So basically after that there comes a femtocell also. So if you can see, if you can analyze then that these categories are dependent on the size of the cell. We are considering hexagonal shape. Each hexagon has their own radius. So depending on the size of the or the length of the radius, you can see that in as we move from here to here, the radius of this particular cell will be reduced. So femtocell will have lesser radius as compared to the large macro cell. And the location is, if the cell size is large, then it can be considered for outdoor application. If the cell size is small, then it can be used either for outdoor or indoor. Then typical base station antenna installation are there, like above medium rooftop level, all surrounding buildings are below the low antenna height, then below medium rooftop level, below rooftop level. So these are basically the areas where particular base station antennas are installed. Now there are three categories of path loss models. Like first one is macro cell path loss model, which is based on empirical model, semi-empirical and deterministic model. So in the three categories of these path loss model, we are going to see three models. First one is empirical, second one is deterministic and third one is semi-empirical. So what are these models? In case of empirical model, these are based on measurement data, which means that every time if an experiment is performed on a designed model, if you are going to change the input which is applied to this channel model, then the output will change every time. Means the circumstances at which the particular experiment is performed will going to change, then the output will also change. So that comes under the empirical model. In case of deterministic model, since the PDF of every distribution, which are universal like Rayleigh, Gaussian distribution, the PDF of these particular distributions are fixed. So depending on the input which you are applying to that particular characteristics of the channel, then it will provide an output, and that will be deterministic in nature because the channel characteristics is fixed in that deterministic model case. And the third one, that is the combination of the previous two cases, that is the empirical model and the deterministic model. In case of semi-empirical or semi-deterministic, these are based on empirical and deterministic model. So based on these three models, we have designed three categories, like first one is macro cell path loss, second one is micro cell and third one is picocell. So depending on the size of the cell or the population size, these three different categories are considered. So this is all about the path loss model. Next we will see channel impulse response. Now, what is channel impulse response? The impulse response of a wireless channel looks like a series of impulses received from a stationary channel with decreasing amplitudes as shown in this figure along with the Fourier transform. Now you can see that this is the channel impulse response, which means whenever we are designing any channel, then it has a transfer function that is that will resemble to the impulse function, where impulse train is nothing, it is a series of impulses. You can say, let's say this will be described at 0, this will be described at t, then this will be let's say t1, this will be t2, this will be t3. So at these points these amplitudes are described. So that means it is a train of impulse function which is having amplitudes at different time instance. So that is the, and whenever the channel will have this type of characteristics, and whenever you apply any input you will get an output, so that is known as a channel impulse response. So we define the average local mean power that is received with an excess delay that falls within the interval t to t plus d tau. Now this will be the change in the time. This is the initial time, this will be the change in time. Now such characterization for all the t gives the delay profile of the channel. So this is channel frequency response, that is having an amplitude which is described in terms of decibels, and this is frequency. So this is channel impulse response, this is frequency response. Now next is power delay profile. This is related to channel also. The delay profile is expected power variation per unit of time received with a certain excess delay. So basically delay profile is the power variation which you are expecting per unit time with which is received with a excess delay. So that is the standard definition of delay profile. It is obtained by averaging large set of impulse responses, thus it is also called the set of mean power profile of each path. So basically this is the typical exponential delay profile. As you can see that there is a graph is drawn between expected power versus excess delay time. So there are different amplitudes are provided, like this is total delay spread, this is RMS delay spread. So these terms are important from point of view of its definition, that is related to the channel. Then this is typical indoor delay profile. So this is exponential, you can see over here, this is indoor delay profile. Now you can see that up to this point it is constant, and from here it will be a having a slope that is decreasing in nature. So that is the typical indoor delay profile. Next one is typical bad urban delay profile with tall buildings, which means that there is no direct line of sight is there between the transmitter and receiver. So that's why the reason is tall building. So there will be more multipath propagation exist in this case, that is typical bad urban delay profile. So in that case you can see over here that this is decreasing in nature, again it will gain some value, then it will again it is decreasing in nature. So that is the reason of why the transmitter and receiver is not having direct line of sight. If it is not possible, then this will be the graph of delay profile. Now next is autocorrelation among multipath reflected rays. So in case of multipath propagation, when the light is incident on various intermediate objects, like it may be a building, tall building, it may be a tree, or it may be any other atmospheric propagation effect is there. So due to which there will be multipath propagation, and all these signals when they are received at the receiver side, these are added together, these are correlated. Correlation between these different signals will be checked. So that's why we are concerning this autocorrelation among multiple reflected rays. So this is the transmitter, this is reflection causes multipath and noise cause sensor. So this is noise causes error. So this is a channel, through channel it will be passed, and you can see that these three signals will be received, and it is clearly mentioned that there is no direct line of sight is there, no LOS, which means no line of sight will exist. That's why it is having multipath propagation, and different signals will appear at different points. Like this is x1n, this is x2n, this is x3n. So these three signals, which means there will be three multipath propagation exist. So these three signals at the receiver side, these are correlated. Now you can see over here, this is the receiver. At this receiver, these three signals are correlated, and whenever there is a signal which is received below the origin, so it is known as it is having an error. So that is this is showing the autocorrelation among multiple reflected rays. Now next is channel modeling and probability theory. So the following are few definitions that are useful for understanding the statistical way of channel modeling, how the channel is modeled. So first is PDF, that is probability density function that I was talking about when we are concerning the statistical approach for designing the channel model. Then for different distributions, right, like Rayleigh, Bayesian channel, their distributions are considered PDF. So that is the definition. It describes the probability that a real valued random variable m will be found at the value m. So that is the definition of probability density function. In other words, it describes the relative likelihood for this random variable to take on a given value. So PDF is non-negative everywhere. It is integral over the entire space is equal to 1. So basically, what is the probability of PDF, like from minus infinity to infinity? This will be equals to 1. So that is the main property of any PDF. If you are concerning that from minus infinity to infinity over the entire space, it will be considered as unity, and it should be non-negative in nature. So cumulative distribution function is also related to this PDF. A CDF, it describes the probability that a real valued random variable m with a given probability distribution will be found at the values less than or equal to m. So basically, CDF is the integral of PDF, or you can say PDF is the differentiation of CDF. So this is the relation between CDF and PDF, which is written over here. CDF, you can find out, that is cumulative distribution function, is the integral of PDF. Next one is Gaussian process. Why we are concerning Gaussian process? Because the Fourier transform and the inverse Fourier transform of this Gaussian distribution will be same. So when we are developing, or when we are designing any channel model, then to discuss this Gaussian distribution is much more feasible, much more good, because it when from the mathematics point of view, or from the calculation point of view, its distribution and inverse distribution will be transform will be same. So that will make the mathematical operation, mathematical study very easy. So it is a stochastic process, and its realization consists of a random values associated with every sample point of space, such that the random variable has a normal distribution. So a channel is mostly treated as a Gaussian channel. So that's why we are always concerning a channel as a Gaussian channel. And if I'm concerning about the noise which will going to affect the channel, that we'll consider is AWGN noise, that is additive white Gaussian noise, that we are concerning, because it is additive white Gaussian noise, that is also related to the Gaussian distribution. Next is correlation of fading and autocovariance. So fading, now fading, what is fading? When there is multipath propagation exists between the transmitter and receiver. So the larger multiple path exists, the larger the fading of the received signal will occur, which means the strength of the signal will reduce as it passes with multipath. So correlation represents the amount of matching between the signals. The autocorrelation statistics of a fading process is a second order statistics, which includes power, process such as power spectral density level, crossing rate, and average fade duration. A discrete time random process is a mapping from the sample space ohm to the set of discrete time values. So when we are concerning about discrete, then the frequency is considered as ohm, and when we are concerning about analog, then we are concerning this omega. So there is a relation between omega and ohm. Omega is equals to ohm into multiplied by t. So normally each random variable is the sequence has its own PDF. So basically when we are concerning about different distributions like Gaussian distribution, normal distribution, these have their own PDF which is fixed in nature, that is universal. You have to design a channel concerning these PDFs, and whenever you are changing any input related to any input, then it will provide a output that is fixed in nature because of the characteristics of the channel. Now these are some of the formulas that is related to autocorrelation and variance, that is mean is expected value of xn is nothing, it is a random variable, and variance is also related to this expected value. This is expected value of xn minus xn mod square. Autocovariance is also there, which is having this formula, and autocorrelation. So correlation is basically we are finding between two random variables, or we can find out between one random variable and the shifted version of the same random variable. So this is the correlation. Its value is either minus, it can be 0, it can be positive. So these are the three different values of autocorrelation function. So these are some of the formulas, like this is the delay profile you can find out, then this is the autocovariance coefficient, which is having this value, expected value of R1 multiplied by R2 and minus expected value of R1 into R2 divided by this sample space which has been shown over here. This is again another formula that is related to the delay spread, which is denoted by this BC is equals to approximately equals to 1 upon 5 into TRMS, that is the RMS value of the time, and this is the delay profile which is shown over here, which is having the graph between power and delay time. Now this is the model of the multipath propagation. As you can see in this diagram that let's say this is the transmitter and this is the receiver, this car is a receiver. So you can see over here in the urban areas that the multipath propagation is quite large. You can see that instead of direct line of sight, the signal will receive from various obstacles. That's why there is a delay in various path are there, and the different signals are summed up at the receiver side. So these are some of the factors, that is angular speed, angular construction, azimuthal angle of maximum fading. So we have to consider while we are concerning about scattering, diffraction, reflection and refraction. Then these are the cases of angular distribution of power. Like first case is angular distribution of power, that is P phi is a constant omnidirectional antenna. So you can see over here that this is the radiation pattern of an omnidirectional antenna whose gain is equals to 1. This is for the HX case, this is HY case. So these are the side lobes of an antenna. These are some of the formulas that are related to antenna only. Then the most important topic is the additive wide Gaussian noise that I have already talked about. Its power spectral density is fixed, that is from minus infinity to infinity. It has a value that is denoted by n naught by 2, and whenever we are concerning about this mathematical from mathematical point of view, it makes the calculation much easy. So that's why we always consider this AWGN noise. This is the representation of the discrete channel by the filter. So this is all about today's lecture, where we have discussed how the channel is modeled using two approaches. First one is physical and the other is the statistical approach. Thank you.